Hello there, good evening. Let's see, I can get all my papers up here, my little clicker. All right, hi, I'm Andrea Julian. It's nice to meet you guys. I am from Dayton, Ohio. Oh, wait, am I? I thought I am, let's see. Hey, look, there I am. Again, my name is Andrea Julian. It's good to be here. I am from Dayton, Ohio, as a matter of fact. I work at Yoga Somatic Arts with a couple of my sisters. They came here with me today. And I see a little extra one out here too. So I brought my own little fan club all the way from Dayton. I am a certified personal trainer. I specialize in functional training and youth fitness. I serve on the board of directors for EDS Awareness, and I have for almost 10 years now. We actually just updated our website after the conference, obviously. Check it out. It's edsawareness.com. All of our webinars are still up, and our interactive Find Your Own support group is active and working. Should be anyways, we just got it updated. So I've also been running a support group in Dayton for a little over 10 years. We have 1,000+ members in our group. We meet several times a month. So if anybody has questions about support group, please feel free to ask me after the conference. I'm not gonna go into it here because that's not what I'm here for. I am coming at this as a patient, a parent, and a practitioner. I was diagnosed approximately 20 years ago when my son's spleen ruptured. The spleen rupture was my family physician's like aha moment. And she flashed back to med school and remembered ruptured hollow organs. And she knew what was wrong. She sent us straight to Cincinnati Children's, where Dr. Nielsen diagnosed myself, my son, my brother, my mom, and eventually my cousins and their children and the family. Shortly after this, I was sent to neuro rehab, and I met my physical therapist, my neuro PT, Sheila. Sheila was the first physical therapist that I ever had that was able to truly help me. Just like most of you, I've been in physical therapy my entire life, and I've seen a lot of physical therapists, and I've failed a lot of physical therapists, or they failed me. And then I finally got my diagnosis. I got to the right PT. Things started changing. My life improved greatly, and I wanted nothing more than to help everybody else around me. The quickest way I could do this was to get my certificate as a personal trainer and really delve in, and ADD helps with that because I can hyper-focus, and here we are today. I learned a lot from Sheila, and she hates it when I talk about her, but I learned a lot from her, and we learned a lot from each other. And I wouldn't be here without her. All right, so here we go, right into it. Corrective exercise. Corrective exercise, if you've been around the movement industry for a while, you may remember medical exercise. Medical exercise and corrective exercise are essentially the same thing. We just needed an upgrade, and so they changed the name to corrective exercise. So corrective exercise has taught me, for the most I got out of my corrective exercise courses is that it's a great way to evaluate and gain information from my clients. So corrective exercise kind of takes a step back. So I get a lot of clients that have already been to PT and they've either passed and need to keep going, or it didn't work and they're looking for some kind of help somewhere else. And so we take a step back. Okay, I know your knee hurts, my knee hurts too, and of course your neck hurts, you've got EDS. So we take a little bit of a step back and we take a look at some neuromuscular skeletal function, okay? So neuromuscular skeletal function in its most simplest term, and that's kind of what I want to give you is the most simplest term. It is a lack of communication between your brain and the activity you're trying to do, okay? So it could be a disconnect between your brain and your glutes. Maybe your glutes don't fire. We're gonna check that here in a minute. It could be a disconnect between you and your feet. You can see I'm barefoot. We're gonna try some things out there too here in just a minute as well. So this lack of communication can lead to some really interesting muscle patterning. So we end up with hypertrophy in one side and then hypotrophy in the other because one side is taken over. And this could be from injury, it can be from postures you've taken, it could be from yesterday or the way you slept, or it could be from 25 years ago when you fell off the stairs. That's not so much up for me to find out as much as it is how can we get this connection to start happening again. So that's where we do these little games we're going to do. So we are going to go into, and I don't have very many slides because I'm here to talk. All right, so, let me stay on the screen now. Am I on the screen? Okay. So first exercise we're going to do today, and this is up to you whether you do this or not. If you're feeling well, please join us. If you're unsure about this, please do not. This is completely up to you. But if you would like to participate, we're going to do glute pops. Okay, so we're going to play with your booty a little bit. So if you would like to participate, both feet flat on the floor and sit forward in your chair just a little bit, just so that your back's off of the floor. All right, so here we go. Everybody is going to squeeze both of their glutes. So this is your butt muscles. Squeeze those butt muscles and hold them for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest. All right. I saw some of you lift up off of your chairs. Good job. All right, now we're going to try and isolate that. Can you do just the right side? Squeeze the right glute for me. Squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Heard some giggles. Might be a little harder to find that. We're going to go to our left glute. Squeeze just the left glute for me. Squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give it a break. All right, so I got some giggles and things. It is perfectly natural and totally normal if you cannot squeeze your glute muscles, okay? This is a little more excessive in the hypermobile community, but I do see this amongst everybody. And this is one of those disconnects, okay? So what's the big deal? I can't squeeze my butt. Your butt muscles, those glutes, help you to walk. They move you forward, okay? And we isolate those with each step. So if I'm stepping on my left, and my left foot's down, then my left glute should be on all by itself without the right glute, okay? So we need to be able to isolate these things. So that helps me, that gives me some clues into some exercises and things that we can do to make sure that you're able to do that. The second exercise we're going to do, again, if you feel up to it, this one's gonna be a little bit more difficult if you have shoes on. So if you have shoes on, this may be something you wanna do when you get back to your room later, or, take your shoes off, I don't care. If you have sandals on or you're already barefoot like me, go ahead and play along. We're gonna have both feet flat on the floor again. All right, this time you're gonna look down at your right foot. If your socks are off, you can see your big toe. So take a look at your right foot, look down at that big toe. What I want you to do is leave all your little toes down and lift just your big toe for me. Got some giggles again. All right, bring that big toe down. Tap that foot down. Don't get any cramps in there. The foot likes to cramp up. Let's check your left foot. Look down at that left big toe. Push those little toes down into the floor. Lift that left big toe for me. Can you lift just your left big toe? Again, this is pretty normal if you can't. Normal is kind of a weak word, though. I would like for everybody to be able to move their toes. There are several different reasons why we can, or we have a lack of communication, or we needed to use our finger to get the toe to come up. There are a lot of different reasons for that. Again, not my job to find out why they're doing these things, unless it's your shoes. And if it's your shoes, we're gonna have a nice long conversation about what shoes you need to wear. I did notice in the clips in the last, in Dr. Valerie's talk, that she was wearing 0 shoes, and I liked that. I picked that up immediately. All right, so we start to look at these neuromuscular dysfunctions, right? Do your glutes turn on? Can you wiggle your toes? Can you move your little toe independently? These kinds of things. Do you have strength here in the hands? by doing assessments this way, it gives me an idea, again, of what exercises that will help and benefit you the most in order to regain those connections and regain that strength that you're losing. So by doing this, we're able to look for compensations. And I tell everybody that EDS is a compensatory disorder, right? We compensate. That's all we do is compensate everywhere. It's a good thing. It's beautiful. Our body's doing its job. We want it to compensate so that we can go about our day and live our lives. The problem is that when we're living in compensation, it becomes a wear and tear issue, right? Our ligaments give a lot. And so if we're staying in that position and we're using it and using it and using it, we're going to cause some issues. So we need to find out what those compensations are, what your body's compensations are, okay? Because everybody's are going to be a little bit different. So we need to find out what your compensations are. The idea behind corrective exercise, and we have an incredible corrective exercise specialist here. I heard her speak yesterday. Hopefully we all did, is to find balance, right? We want the body to be in balance. We want the brain and the body to be in balance. We want them to work together as a full system because we are a full system. We are fully somatic. We are mind and body and soul. And all of these things can become dysfunctional with chronic pain and chronic illness. And so with corrective exercise, like I said, we take that step back and we look at the small things and we start to break those down. It's kind of like this low-lying fruit that we can kind of grab and start making changes really quickly in your life to affect your quality of life in the quickest way possible. So exercise to a hypermobile client is more than just movement. Exercise to a hypermobile client is complex, it is subjective, and it is often seen as a threat by the body and can even bring up an immune response. I have had clients totally fine while we were exercising, and then we get to the next day and they have broken out in hives and they are having inflammatory issues and their body has seen exercise as an attack. And so again, then we take this big step back. If the body does see exercise as a threat, that is a really good indication that we need to get you in with somebody that can help you with those things and with that thought process. So some of our really great psychotherapists and psychoanalysts that are here, the counselors and therapists, are really good at helping with that. When we are perceiving exercise as a threat, when we're perceiving exercise as a threat, we can start to have a problem there, right? It becomes a piece of us. It becomes part of us. This threat can turn into something very real. So we look at functional exercises then, right? So if the body's in threat and we take this step back and we're going slow and we're going through therapies and we're going through things, we still need to exercise though, right? We need to get the brain okay, but the body's got to move a little bit too. So we do some functional exercises. I'm going to skip around on this slide a little bit. And my slides are really simple. I'm sorry, I just talk. So I'm going to skip around on this a little bit. So if we come into exercise with a little bit of fear, then we need to make exercise kind of familiar. Familiar in a good way. So not familiar as in I've done glute bridges forever and ever and they don't work. Nobody wants to do that. Okay, fine. It is my favorite exercise. We'll talk about that in a minute. But we've all been given glute bridges through physical therapy, and we've probably all had a problem with it for one reason or another. We take a step back. What's familiar? Familiar, if I have a client that is walking and able to walk, familiar is walking, okay? And so we may just start there. Where does your foot line up? Are you out here? Is your foot forward? Can you use your hip and align your knee over your foot? Do you get an arch when you do that? Then we add a little bit more to it. Can you take a step and come back? Take a step and come back. If I'm doing this correctly, then I'm building the muscles in my foot. I'm giving mobility to my toes and Remember the glutes. I'm walking on my left leg, so my glute is on that left leg. And so I've got a functional exercise. This is something I do every day that can help me to retrain how my body and brain are working together. So functional exercise also comes at everything from a biopsychosocial aspect. And I know we've heard that a couple of times here, and that's fantastic. So we're looking at the biological, psychological, and social aspects of our client's life. Biologically, we have acute pain. We have chronic pain, we have dysautonomia, we have sleep disturbances, we have calorie deficiencies, we have electrolyte deficiencies. There's a lot going on biologically. And all of those things need to be taken into consideration, but it's not all of who we are. Remember, we're fully somatic. We are mind and body and soul. So we look at the psychological aspect. Psychologically, we know that depression and EDS kind of go together. There's depression and anxiety, and there's a lot of things that go into that, and a lot of different reasons that we end up there. Again, not my field, so we won't go into that too much. But the depression and isolation is very real. But we can also develop this fear avoidance. We can develop a kinesiophobia. So injury brings an experience, okay? It's not just an injury, especially if it keeps happening. It is an experience. This is a lived experience. This is something that keeps happening to my body. And if that is happening, we have this moment where we get to make a choice, okay? I can choose to know and understand that I have an injury, take that injury to the person that I know can help me with that, and then resolve, okay? That resolution may be 3 months away, because I have to go see a surgeon, and I have to have surgery, and I have to have physical therapy, or I have to see a massage therapist, and I have to see my DO for osteopathic manipulation, and then I go see the PT, and then it's on and on and on. And that could take 3 months. But if I know that that works and that I can get a resolution there, it's very easy on me personally and on my psyche, because I know that I have help and that I can get help. The other way to go with this, and the other choice that I have, is to face this with fear. If I come at this with fear, first of all, I'm going to avoid activity. Whatever activity it was that hurt me, I'm not doing that again, okay? I say that, I've dislocated things in my sleep, and I definitely sleep every day. But other activities, just no more of that, right? So I can avoid the activity, which can make me weaker, which will either make my injury worse, or if my injury has kind of gotten better, I can re-injure it because I've gotten weak in that area. And so this becomes this cycle then, right? So I have an injury, I catastrophize the pain, I'm afraid to move, I re-injured it, I avoided the activity, now I've got disuse, now I've got disability, and now I've circled right back around into depression and right back around into isolation, right? So we have to consider all of these things when we're talking to somebody about exercise. Like this is deep stuff. This is not just you need fitness. This is not you need exercise and diet. It's not just it, right? So we prioritize our exercises by the impact on the quality of life. Like I said, there may be things that I see that are really easy and like we're just gonna grab that because it's low-lying fruit, right? If I can help you pick your groceries up without using all these auxiliary muscles up here and just using that bicep and stabilizing the shoulder, that's what we're gonna do. That's easy. That's easy. But if I let you go and you keep picking things up like this, then we've still got a problem, right? So there's some things that are like considered low-lying fruit that we're gonna grab hold of and we're going to work on quickly. Okay, running out of time here. So I'm gonna change this slide maybe. Yes, I am. All right, so is that the right one? Yep. All right, so I did a survey of my clients before we came out here, and I kind of compiled some of their tips, right? Find the right fit for you. If you do not vibe with this person, if you do not vibe with your trainer, your PT, if they're not listening, if they're not taking your notes, get up and leave. Ask questions to your physical therapist. Where am I supposed to be feeling this? Am I using the correct muscles? Because if they're not giving you that information, you need to ask for it, okay? What muscles am I supposed to use to do this, right? What muscles do I use to walk? And find some information, get some education on how your body works. Exercise should not hurt. This is kind of iffy, okay? So exercise should not hurt more than when you started, okay? If you're coming into an exercise and you're already in pain, you're still in pain. Just because you're moving doesn't make the pain go away, but we don't want the pain to get worse, okay? Learn how your body's compensating will reduce fear and anxiety. Knowing who you can go to for help, your massage therapist, your DO, those things will help. Also remember, you are definitely not alone. You are in this room with several hundred people. You are online with several hundred people. There are thousands of people watching this. There are thousands of us out there. You are not alone. I have never been alone. These two fabulous men have always been a part of my life. Richard Ryman Schneider and Dr. John Mitakaitis. A lot of you know those names, and a lot of you know those people. We lost them last year. They were my biggest cheer squad. They were always behind me. They are the reason I'm standing on this stage today, and I wanted to give them a moment of thanks and remembrance for that. Thank you so much for having me. I'll see you again.